Welcome back, everyone.
Al, Mr. Boggs, you want to get the records in while they're, or you want to do that before they come in?
I was going to do it in front of the
Okay. Are they ready, or you want me to wait for a few minutes?
Judge, we actually have
Now what?
well, Judge, we have a
Day 13.
offer to make regarding the witnesses.
Oh, yes.
That Ms. Grizelda
Yes, go ahead and bring that. We can do that outside the presence of the jury.
They got a proffer to make.
Your Honor, I think the question is how Your Honor would like it.
Well, depends on what type of proffer you're going to make. Could you tell me what proffer it is and of what evidence or what witness?
Sure, well, there was, communication.
Yeah, I think I need you all to come up because there's no microphone up there.
Day
Sorry about
13
that. I know
afternoon.
it's
Here we go.
more
Happy
comfortable to do it
Friday.
from there.
Oh, I don't know that.
Okay.
So there was a witness who, as I indicated yesterday, had been under subpoena, hired an attorney to resist the subpoena, was informed yesterday evening of Your Honor's proposed remedy, and still informed the defense team that he was going to refuse to testify given the situation. So the question now is how Your Honor would like the information that the team believes the witness would have testified. We can submit a declaration from a defense team member who has spoken to him about the content of his testimony. We could read it into the record however Your Honor would like.
How long is the reading into the record?
I mean, Ralph, can you pull up the offer?
Or do you have a couple of pages worth? I think I'm good with y'all submitting the pages if you want to print them out. And it's offer of proof. How many do we have?
We don't have any offer of proofs yet.
Okay, so we can get that as an offer of proof number one, or defendant's offer of proof number one.
Does Your Honor want it to be sworn by one of the defense team members or just printed in?
Well, you're right, since it's not going to be read, right? And this would have been summarized by whom? One of your team members?
Yes, it would be the investigator who's had multiple contacts with the
And that person is here
Yes, Your Honor.
and can swear to it, or can, whatever you want to, you put the, yes, let's do that. So we're going to call that offer of proof number one. Can the person please come up who did the investigation?
Your Honor, but before we go there, I was, my concern is if all remedies have been exhausted, I believe,
Yeah.
and we don't know enough right now if this is an expert witness, if it's a lay witness.
What?
If a writ of attachment could be issued to the.
And those are all arguments that can be made if that issue comes up. In other words, that they didn't exhaust all their remedies. But I think that for purpose, I can't deny somebody to put in an offer of proof. And then, of course, the offer of proof is subject to criticism if, in fact, it was done prematurely without exhausting remedies.
But what if a lay witness decides
Sorry, you don't have to lay, just like
Okay.
that.
No, I'm just, I don't see the harm by a lay witness who could knowingly, intelligently change their mind and say, you know what, I thought I would testify for him, but now I don't want to testify for him.
It could be, and but that would be, it could be. I didn't know the details of now that I've heard of them. At the end of the day, when somebody calls somebody to testify in a trial, all they want them to do is to come and answer the questions that you're going to be propounded truthfully, right? So the fact that that somebody changes their mind about appearing, by the way, let's make this really clear about this changing their mind thing. No one has the option to come into court or not if they're subject to the subpoena of the court, okay? If they are subject to our subpoena, within the jurisdiction of our subpoena, we can attempt to go pick them up with a writ of attachment, whatnot. I am, I guess, assuming that in fact the person is outside of that jurisdictional subpoena power that the court has. Is that a right assumption?
Yes, Your Honor,
Geographically.
Okay.
So-
Well, I was gonna ask if the court would ask then if they would want a writ of attachment issued for them.
But we could not pick them up if we're outside our jurisdiction, we could not pick them up with a writ of attachment.
I know it's 150 miles, I think it is, or within,
Yep. As the crow fly.
or are they?
So it's
within-
beyond 150 miles.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
What? Who is it and why didn't they
So,
want to
so I guess
testify?
because I understand where you're coming from too, Mr. Hernandez. In other words, everyone could say, if I would have brought this witness, they would have testified that. If I would have brought this witness. But at the end of the day, it's not just, it's not evidence. First of all, it's not evidence that goes to the jury. That's one. Two, it's evidence that the Court of Appeals would take, Court of Criminal Appeals would take into account only if they find it to have been improper, that the court did something improper by not allowing or by either doing something or not doing something that prevented the evidence from coming in. That's basically it. And I think I've crossed my T's and dotted my I's with regard to that and with regard to the remedy that I gave them, but I still have to allow them to submit their proffer.
Very well.
Thank you. So, the person who is going to sign off on, swear to it, because since we're not going to sign to a sworn document, we'll sign, you'll just get on the record to say that, offer of proof number 1. Can you ask her the questions? I don't want to ask her the questions.
Yes, Your Honor.
We're going to call that defendant's offer of proof number 1, so when you ask, when we swear her in, you ask her the questions. You said that this is a document that she drafted and that she has personal knowledge of by virtue of her interviews or whatever it may have been. And then that'll be the end of it. She doesn't have to summarize the document. Just
Okay. Right now, it's styled as a declaration and it has a spot for like a notary and her own signature, but we can.
well, we could do that too then.
And then we can just.
And then we can avoid this.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
And I realize what assuming does, Your Honor, but I assumed that there may be a member of the notary force in this courthouse. So
That assumption will probably be correct.
Okay, so we can get it notarized. Okay, great. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Not a big assumption. Okay. So we're gonna just say that offer of proof number 1 then will be admitted in that form, and of course under the, it's defendant's offer of proof number 1 will be admitted, and it goes with all the rules of evidence with regard to that, and whether or not the Court of Criminal Appeals will actually even look at it, and they'll only look at it if in fact the court did something to prevent that evidence that was wrongful from coming in, or did not do something to allow that evidence to come in. All right, and I think we got that remedy, and we can't do anything about
We're waiting.
the witness that they can't say, well, I didn't want to come out on camera because obviously the cameras were shut down.
Right? Yes.
All right.
A proffer. Thank you, Terry.
Very well. So, and that was on the record, wasn't it? That the broadcasting of the images and names and addresses of those individuals were individual. What do we call? Is the name of the individual in the offer? Okay, the name of the individual in the offer is one of those individuals that was made a part of Ms. Pozell's argument yesterday on the motion for mistrial. And so the remedy that the court then offered was to not broadcast the image, names, addresses of the particular individual. And even after knowing that, and after conferring with him after that remedy, I've been told that the witness still does not want to come forward for them. So, very well. Based on that, the offer of proof, defendant's offer of proof number 1 will be admitted. Thank you. Okay, can we get the jury out now?
Interesting. Khalil says, so the defense's side is admitted the state can't cross? I don't know. Do you guys know if you have legal experience? Do you know? So this was a proffer, from what I'm understanding, one of the witnesses, one of the lay witnesses, the one that really, really doesn't want to be on camera or on audio or anything, and they spoke about that at length yesterday, still doesn't want to, they really don't want to come through to testify. And then they said something about picking them up and they're 150 miles away, and that's not possible right now. So they're admitting, I hope I got the right words, tell me, admitting, like, testimony from someone who had spoken to them, who I think is a law enforcement officer, I think. But anyway, so that person won't be testifying. So that's what we just heard. Now the jury's entering the room, and then day 13 afternoon will start. Amanda says Florida is over 150 miles. I think it's like way more than that. Laredo, Texas. That is many, many miles. Interesting. Anyway, so they don't want us to know who it is. They don't want to testify. They're scared and all of that. 1,337 miles to Florida from Laredo. So it's not that. They were talking about 150 miles. So yes. Interesting. So welcome back, everyone. Did you have a good break? We, as usual, it's a hurry up and wait trial. It's okay. It's a phase 2 of the death penalty trial against Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles, a former Border Patrol supervisory officer who murdered his ex-girlfriend Grizelda Hernandez and their son, Dominic Hernandez, 18 months old. Dominic would turn 7 years old on the 26th of July. Coming up, he would have turned 7. Oh, man. Okay. Pistol Amy says, start or stall? That is the question. KK says, Grizzly, they can't pick up the witness on a subpoena if the person. Oh, okay, is that what it was? Okay, I just heard 150 miles, and I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, they can't pick up the witness on a subpoena if the person is more than 150 miles away. Okay, well, yeah, then I guess we could put 2 and 2 together and imagine who it could be. But I think they said he. I think it's a male. I'm not sure. But anyway. You guys are saying turn it up. It's boosted. It's definitely boosted. It's just that they were not close to the mics right now. I mean, I could boost it again if you like. You want me to boost it again? Stand by. Let me reset everything just so we know. Just so we know. Make sure it's turned on your side as well. Okay, so here we go. Boosted. There we go. Bam. Now, we've got great color and sharpness. And then we've also got boosted sound. No, the defense has not rested Irish Auntie. Irish Auntie says, has the defense rested? Nope. They're still going to be interviewing witnesses. I think this other doctor, Dr. Anderson, is going to be on a Zoom call. And I believe that is to, I've heard, is to testify about Dominic's injuries on March 25th. They're still busy with that. The defense is still very busy with that day because, of course, they want to try to prove to the jury that his actions were not premeditated. They didn't try to do that on the 25th and then did this horrible crime on April 9th of 2018. H2O Delivery says, I don't think that's fair for the prosecution. Denny Dawn says, or is it because they want to not be crossed? Could be. It could be. Okay, so we are still waiting. Yeah, we still have a Zoom call to... Okay, so basically, we had the lieutenant from the sheriff's department that worked at the Webb County Jail today testify. We had Burgos's dad. So that would be lay witness 1. Which means there should still be 2 lay witnesses, right? Which means one refuses to testify. So there's only one more, which I think narrows it down to the Zoom call doctor and one lay witness. That's what I'm thinking is still on the table for the defense before they rest their case. So we shall see. Fushia says, whoever this layperson is not feeling RABA, Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles. I do wonder as well, especially after being found guilty, the unanimous guilty verdict. I mean, that, and then just seeing how the case has gone. I mean, interesting. Sonny says the jury wants to be done with us and go home. I mean, we can dream, right? Imagine. Should we dream for a second? So let's say the doctor is there, okay, on Zoom. And it's like saying a few things for 15 minutes. No further questions, no cross, okay. Or maybe there's a few questions. Wow. Okay, good job, good job. Then one lay witness. Imagine. Okay, so that's done. Defense rests the case. Imagine it for today. Okay, we're just pretending now because it would be amazing if that did happen. And then if it was, okay, closing arguments, here we go. Are you ready? Yes, we're ready. Okay, do that. And then imagine if there's jury instructions and they start deliberating. We'll be like, what? Stereophonics mom says, Sucker Aviation could pick up the witness Grizzly to crime. Yes. Chelsea Whittaker says, why don't they have this lay witness in question testify over Zoom and not broadcast it? I agree. This is a good solution. Why don't they have this lay witness in question testify over Zoom and not broadcasted? Problem solved. That's a good solution. I hope they see that. Can anyone see that? Cameraman, can you tell them? That would be great. Genevieve's like 15 minutes and no cross, dream on. I can dream, okay, Genevieve? I'm allowed to dream. I mean, at this rate, the more realistic timeline, you know, is probably next week, Monday or Tuesday. A verdict? Seems so. But we just don't know. It could be next week Friday for all we know. Or worst case scenario, everybody gets COVID because the one juror had it and then they're like, that's it. We'll have to put everything on pause now. Like, no. Caroline says there's zero doubt who did it and how savage it was, and there's no undoing that. Gee, said the defense, he only savagely stabbed a baby ending his life. He didn't poke him with a needle. Right? That's the defense. Well, Caroline. Yes. Amanda said they probably changed their mind. I wouldn't get on the stand for him either. Paige Willow says the witness changed their mind, so it should be scrapped. You know, and what are they doing now? So they had a conversation, and now they're waiting for the jury? Okay, let's go, jury, let's go. I mean, I don't even see the judge standing here or anything. Are they going out to call them in? So then we know. And then normally it's another 20 minutes or so. Christy Taylor says person may not want to perjure themselves. Maybe. Thank you for your sticker, Christy Taylor. Akisu says, I just hope this next expert witness doesn't have a 100-page PowerPoint presentation. That was brutal. What if they have a 200-page PowerPoint presentation? Yes. Looper, curious. You're wearing pants or shorts? Objection, inappropriate. Thank you, Looper, for your sticker. Well, let's put our waiting for court song on. Or let me discuss something. Let's not do that. Let's wait. I was listening in the break to some of those calls, emails, everything. There's a lot that happened this morning in the morning session. So if you missed it, check it out. We need to listen to it again, I'm sure, at some point. But I was listening to some of those, so I did figure out there was an email and then another email there were emails from Amy, Ronald's wife. There was also a call that we heard between Amy and Ronald. And that was quite something. We heard that if he had a boat, he wished it could be called Second Chance. And that got his counsel crying. The empathy overload hit her. I'm like, no. Anyway, he was telling his whole boat story, and he's very obsessed with sinking. He's said so many stories about the ocean and water and sinking and cold and all kinds of things. Like he did to Z with a box that she should picture all her exes going into a little fan club and kick into the ocean. yeah, this little analogy as well about the apocalypse and just the boat and his dream and all the stuff is like, wow. Dinah77 says, hi G, will you be covering the shape business or Boone trials? Maybe. Maybe. Keeping you on your toes. You just never know what's next. And so, yes, there were emails, there were calls, and then there was also an email between Burgos and another lady. And I think that lady's Z, but that I still have to confirm. I didn't get that far. But all we heard was a lot of, I have to say, speculative narcissism. It's armchair diagnosing, but we've all experienced it, right? He's trying to control people from, so narcissism, coercive control, all that from behind bars. You know, telling his sons, you need to be a better version of me, okay? More intelligent, better, just like, oh, right. So that would be, in my view, opinion, a narcissist seeing their children as extensions of them and like, go out there and shine, you know, shine for me. And then he says, you need to eat your protein, you need to be lean, I know you can do it, come on, you need to exercise, you need to be wise. Like, wow, okay, how loving. What a loving thing to say to your son. Just like perform, okay? So yeah, we heard all of that. And we heard him say to Amy, no matter if I win or lose, just don't make a scene. Like, remain calm, okay? Because you know they're watching, they're analyzing. He's very worried about his reputation, his image. But, dude, let me break it to you. What you did, oh yeah, no, that's unforgivable, irrecoverable. Yeah. And he says he doesn't think that everybody in Laredo hates him. Well, maybe not everyone, but maybe 99.9%. Lily Jules says he talks about water images. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I was a swimmer, so I get that. I understand. It's just why. Okay, let me explain. I mean that this crime was committed so close to those riverbanks that he seems to, you know, talk a lot about water and sinking and all of that and kicking X's into the water, that I just think that was possibly his plan. That it wasn't, this is not how he had imagined it going, that he was going to go back there and maybe put the victims in the water. Thank you for your sticker. K80 did too. Queen Olive says he said that to Grandma. Yeah, there's still a lot to work through. He did talk to Grandma. He talked to his wife. He talked to on emails. He also said things to Z. So there's a lot to summarize there. A lot of bullet points to be made. A lot of things to be transcribed as well. There was also the transcriptions, the translation as well. Yes. Okay. So, have you enjoyed waiting with me for the majority of this trial? I feel like at this trial, if every day is 6 hours, there's about 2 hours that's very productive, and the rest is summaries and waiting around and talking through things and everything, right? It feels like that ratio. But anyway, I've enjoyed it with you. We're still in it. Day 13, afternoon. Will Monday be day 14? Probably, yes. I just can't wait for sentencing. Like, if you think of things, I don't know, like, I was a swimmer, right? So you think of the finish line. You think of, like, just the end of that race, the stamina one needs, right? And you just see that finish line. What is it in this case? Absolute sentencing. In his prison outfit, okay? Being sentenced, no matter what that is, that's going to be a good day. And I cannot imagine the relief the family will feel. Because already the unanimous guilty verdict must have been a relief as well. Tracy says, good point about the water. I thought perhaps he went back to the crime scene because he left something. I think he was either going to go back there to stage the scene to make it look like it was smugglers, because I think that is what they said. I believe that was in opening statements, that he was going to make it look like smugglers had attacked them. Or I wonder if he was going to make it look like, I don't know, or just think that he could put them in the water. Susanna Choxy, welcome to Grizzly $1 supporter. Wendy says, I'm sure his sons are getting harassed in school. Such a POS. That's the thing. He never asks. In anything we've heard, I know there's thousands of minutes of calls and things. There's lots of calls, jail calls and things, and emails. because he's got his little tablet as well, of course, to communicate on. So infuriating. But he never asks how his sons are doing. There's no care or concern. There's just denial, me, my image, and you need to do this for me. You need to make me look good. You need to do as I say. That's what I'm getting from him. Barbara, welcome. Damn, Judge, like Texas time, huh? The time right now is 25 to 3. They said they're starting at 1:45. It was like an hour late. I mean, we're not talking here about 5 minutes late a day, or a session, or a morning, or anything. Every time, it's like 45 minutes to an hour late. Penny Lane, thank you so much. That is so cute. Look at that little lemon. Chris says, I have the same question. Why isn't he in his jail jumpsuit? I think how it works here, because it's phase 1 and phase 2, I think, even though now he's convicted, I mean, I know we have this question, but when we asked this question, once the unanimous guilty verdict was there and he came back in his suit, people in the chat that are locals as well said that when it's sentencing time, he will be in his jail jumpsuit. I really hope so. We need to see him in it. I mean, he's had other court hearings and we saw him in it. Chrissy Taylor said no matter what his plan was, thank goodness she knew to tell her family who she was visiting, or this case may have never been in court. That too. I don't know how he thought she wouldn't. She wouldn't say anything, but yeah, thank goodness she did, right? Exactly. Maybe he actually told her, don't say anything. I quickly want to find an image for you. Just wait 1 second, please. Is it in here? I'm going to look for you. I want to find one when he's in his little jail outfit. Wait. We need to find it in the Burgos-Aviles files. He's been on my thumbnail a few times like that too. There. See, we want to see him like this. Yeah, we want to see him like that. This is what we're waiting for. Yeah, bye-bye. Cheerio now. Sure. Is that like a dragon on his arm or what? If you have a dragon on your arm, it doesn't mean it's something bad. I always have to clarify because people are like, I have a dragon. It doesn't mean anything. It's about him and the context of looking at him right now. I'm just like, what is that? I think it's a dragon on his arm. It doesn't mean anything. I was just looking. Alyssa Henry, welcome to Grizzly $1 supporter. For all of you that are fixated on the breaking news of the Long Island serial killer, we will be discussing that in a live stream when court day ends today. Okay? It's already set up for you. We'll be doing it over there. So if you can chill, we are going to miss the press conference by being here. But we are here for Grizelda and Dominic and for their family. So I'm going to focus on this right now. And the press conference will be happening. And then later, we'll be looking at it together as a community. So if you are interested in that, I do have a playlist on the case as well. We have done a deep dive on the case. And yes, a suspect is in custody, okay? So we will look at that later, just so you know. So mods, if you could also just tell the audience if they get distracted from this case that we will be discussing that news later. Yes. Okay, so do you like seeing this, you guys? You want to see this? Because I do. I want to see him back in an outfit like this, and then I don't care what the sentence is really. Life without parole or death penalty. Ta-ta. The only thing with the death penalty, if he gets that, is there will be appeals and so many more court appearances and so much more time. It could be 29 years until he departs the earth. Yeah, Melanie says, yeah, I like that picture. We want to see it, right? We want to see it. Okay, so let me make this public for you so that you can see the live stream that's coming up later, okay? There we go. Someone says he looks feminine right there. Does he look feminine? He needs his testosterone. Yeah, orange is his color. I think so. Let's see if we have another picture. we can dream, right? We're seeing the finish line over here. Yeah, I like this one. This one. I want to see this. Definitely want to see this. Yes. Yes, yes. This is what we want to see. Bye-bye, Burgos. By the way, your image is shattered, bro. Whatever you thought you had left, no. And it's internationally. You'll be like, what? He's probably going to be watching Facebook, from his cell. Probably tonight. He's like, I catch the replay. Oh, my word. Phantom says, what? In future? We'll get a zap pen? You'll be right on the spot. Imagine that. Damn. So, yes, we've got this picture up because we are dreaming of the day when he's back in this outfit. Someone says he really needs a ball and chain. Someone says he's a pretty boy. Inmates will love him. And as I said yesterday, I've heard from someone on email that knows people that work at the prison that he would go to if he gets life without parole. And they say they are chomping at the bit waiting for Burgos. They're waiting for him. And I'm like, ooh, that sounds exciting. It's like initiation. Welcome. I'm not too sure about that. Storming Norman. I'll have to look. Does anyone know the answer to this question? I'd rather be careful than guess here. Do you know what happens if he's sentenced to death penalty and wins appeal? I think so, based on my research and other killers that I've covered and written about. If he is sentenced to if he gets a death penalty, goes to death row, wins an appeal, does he automatically get life without parole? That's what I believe, yes. And I think once they're on death row, I don't think many of them want that. They then start fearing. That's what I've also read. You see, that's why I want him to go life without parole. Because what I've read is when they're on death row and then they win an appeal, they start getting like, no. Some of them are worried about going to Gen Pop. And I know that Gacy, for instance, John Wayne Gacy was years ago, decades ago, but he was like, I'm not going to Gen Pop. So, yes. Daisy says, embarrassed to be in orange, lol. Okay, so yes, if I need to adjust the time later for the live stream that we're doing after this, I will adjust it depending on what happens here in court today. Worst case scenario, we'll do it. I'm doing it tomorrow anyway because it'll be at 1 o'clock in the morning for me. But as you know, I'm committed to covering these cases with you guys, and I know you're all dying to see that with me. Audrey Shearer, he's still manipulating his whole family. Do I say he has control of them all behind bars? He's not changed. He's not changed at all. Exactly. So even if they say he's so polite, we've heard from a few defense witnesses, he's very respectful in prison. He's very polite. All that stuff we hear. Yeah, but listen how he talks to his wife, to his mother, to his sons, to his girlfriends. Girlfriends, yes, unfortunately. Stormin Norman. That's such a cool name. You say, thanks for the answer. It's my pleasure. And I'm looking at this little animal here. What is it? Is it a goat? So cute. Okay, so Sweetie Pie says 2/3 of people on death row have appealed death row and have had it overturned. Interesting. Yeah, Muriel says he's been in jail for 5 years already, hoping it's tougher on death row. So, as we know, when we normally play either an intro or the tribute that I made or something, then they come back, okay? So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to play a tribute and then the waiting for court, and then I'll be right back. Thank you so much, Tina. Is this for Fury? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. He's sitting here with us on the armchair. He's listening. I like how he reacts to people's voices. If he hears it here in my earphones, he's like, what? One more. Christy says, every time I see this P.O. cuck, I can think of, all I can think of is the song Womanizer. Yes. Yes. I saw the judge's head for a second, and I'm like, I knew it. As soon as we start playing this. Lilac Peach earlier, thank you for your sticker, and you said you don't think he showed emotion during his dad's testimony. And you know, maybe you're right. Maybe that's why they don't want to show us, because he won't have any emotion. Indy says you do a fine job at this. By the way, it's champing at the bit, not chomping. But I want to say chomping. Imagine like all the teeth. If you guys have seen the movie World War Z, I think it was called, with like those zombies, and then people are like, you know, biting their teeth like that. That's how I just imagine all these inmates just like waiting for Burgos. But thank you so much, Indy. Champing at the bit. Chomp chomp. Thank you so much. Nini says, I've been telling my hubby that if this were him, I'd be asking to testify. He responded, no, you'd be asking to be on the jury. He knows me. Right? Thank you so much, Doreen. You say, thank you, G. Such a beautiful, tribute, memorial. Shame. And this is what the case is about. Absolutely horrendous what Burgos did. I can't believe he still says, like, I didn't confess because I didn't do shit. You, what? You're still saying that? Oh. Amy K says, we say chomping. Is that in Britain or where? Who says chomping? Oh, thank you. Pistol Amy says, chomp, chomp, chomp. Yeah, you are. Exactly. Okay. That's nice, Alyssa. Right, so now we still wait. I saw the judge. He popped in for just, he like looked for a second and then off he went again. It was just a glance and I'm like, what is it? Like, what are they doing now? Honestly, what is the holdup? I really wish there was someone, normally in cases, there would be someone who's in the courtroom or like a reporter, right? That's on Twitter. I mean, I know KGNS News is there. That's where the stream comes from. They've got the camera here. So does Court TV and Law and Crime Network. But it doesn't seem like there's someone in the court there tweeting. Normally, we see people tweeting out what's happening, right? Oh, so you guys say chomping too? Okay. Yeah, Shelby says, should have known this morning was too smooth. It was too smooth. Thank you so much, Mrs. O, for sharing. Don't forget to share, guys. White ribbons. You could share the purple ribbons too. White ribbons, Baby Yoda, and purple hearts for the family to show them. We got your back. We love you. We support you. The whole Grizzly True Crime community. We got you. We're here. So, yes. And as I say, I've received some emails from some family members, and they just say thank you for covering it and thank you to your community, and I'm very proud of all of you. Yes. So thank you so much. Okay, now we're having a different debate. I'm going to get off this debate in a moment, but Tiff says Google it. That's what I did as well, and I saw it said champing. Okay. So let's play our little, let's see if this will summon them back in. Let's see. Okay, wait. can't do it anymore, you guys. It does sound like we're on hold on a call or something. Like, we're waiting and waiting and waiting. It's okay. We will be here. The streams continue. The commentary continues. Interesting. External fixator says on Court TV they announced Burgos' 12-year-old son may be called to testify today. For the defense? Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna say one thing, you guys. Just this one conversation of chomping and champing. Look at the chat. That's all the chat is talking about. And that is how quickly, when I say, please can we focus on this case, when people start talking about other cases and redirect focus, you see what I mean? Do you see what I'm saying? Which is why we ask people to please focus on the case, because now it's going to be an hour of arguing about chomping and champing, where that's really a Google search and up to each individual, really, how you're going to say it. Kath says, can the court please stop catching up on Grizzly True Crime and get back, please? They're busy watching in their break. Oh, man. Well, it sounds like it. So, I mean, at this point, actually, you know, what I want to do. Wait. And when we start this, we know how it's going to go. As soon as I start doing this, they're going to come back. But anyway, let's find it. Janie's like, oh my word. Also, challenge. Here's homework for you guys. I know you love Grizzly homework. I'm also trying to find that picture that they showed. It was on day 9 afternoon, I believe, because I remember it was Detective Raimundo Garcia who was back on the stand, showing that picture of Burgos punching holes in the wall at home. Okay? Yes. So, if you can find it, I think I'm going to give you a tip. I think it's on day 9 afternoon. Please send me the timestamp, because so many people ask over the last 3 days, you know, when was it, where is it, and I would love to screenshot it so I could show you and show you the timestamp as well. You see, Diana says, I see what you mean now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when there's thousands of people in one chat and then one thing gets said that's not focused. Oh, wow. And then someone will join later and just restart it all again. So that it's just a good indication of what myself and the mods mean of stay focused. Please, let's not talk about other cases. Let's not talk about other topics, because it can get so wild so quickly. Try to stay disciplined, you know? Okay, wait. So it would be this one. And I want to go back. Let me see. I want to see if you can hear this. Wait.
14, 15, 16, 17 were committed by the court.
You can hear it, right? Wait. Let's go back all the way.
Proceed. You may begin.
And
This was Dana Sarkis back on the stand. So I'm thinking of keeping this on here. Tell me if you can hear the call that's on my third screen over there. And maybe we could just listen to some of that at 1.5 speed while we wait. Okay, here we go.
would you please state your name to the jury, ma'am?
Dana Sarkis.
And you testified for the state, I believe, last week. Is that correct, or earlier this week?
Correct.
Okay. And would you remind everyone where you're employed?
I'm currently employed at the Webb County Sheriff's Office, assigned to the Intel Division.
And what does the Intel Division mean?
We gather intelligence for other agencies from our own agency. We monitor phone calls, monitor cameras for the inmates.
Okay. And as a part of that, your job, you monitor, I believe, phone calls and messages. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that's an important function because it's important to know what messages and things are being said by inmates in the Webb County Jail. Is that correct?
Correct.
And at the same time, it's important for inmates at the Webb County Jail to have contact with the outside world. Is that correct?
Correct. Family members.
Because that helps you to maintain order within the jail.
Correct.
So, for instance, if someone misbehaves in the jail, they could lose that privilege.
That's correct.
So it's like a carrot and a stick.
Yes, sir.
Now, we asked you. So we earlier gave you a thumb drive with messages and a phone call. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And Is that the thumb drive that we gave you?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And were those messages on the thumb drive and a phone call accurate and fair representations of the things that you collected at the Webb County Jail?
Yes, it is.
Judge, at this time, I'd ask to admit Defendant's Exhibit 15. It contains 3 subfiles.
And the sub-files are numbered?
15.1, 4 subfiles. 15.1, 15.2.
It has to be 16, I believe.
18.
Oh, 18, sorry. We've gone through some photos and that were big.
I was told that Ms. Gonzalez skipped 15. And that's what we...
I may have missed out, Your Honor, but I could skip it to this purpose.
No? We have 15 already. Oh, wait. There's
14, 15, 16, 17 were admitted by approval.
14, 15, 16, and 17 were admitted. So this will be named numbered 18, and it'll be 18.1, .2, .3, and .4 sub-files.
So Judge,
Sub-exhibits, or exhibits. Quite frankly, there's no such thing as
with
sub-exhibit.
permission, we'll renumber on the disc
That's fine.
for the Criminal Court of Appeals.
Before they go into the jury, that's fine. We'll do it that way. You may continue. There's no objections on your end, Mr. Alani? They're admitted. Proceed. I don't think any...
Now, I've lost track of the days, but when you testified before, the district attorney asked you about certain calls and messages that were made by Mr. Ronald Burgos-Aviles. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you didn't choose which calls to play or which messages to see, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay. It was the district attorney who decided which calls and which messages he wanted this jury to see.
That's correct. They provided me the phone calls and the messages.
Now, there are many calls, thousands, that the district attorney did not play. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And thousands of messages as well that the district attorney did not show. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, have you listened to all those calls?
Most of the calls, not all of them.
Okay. And have you looked at all those messages?
Most of the messages.
Okay. So, for instance, if you, well, to your knowledge, does Mr. Burgos-Aviles talk a lot about faith in those messages?
Yes, he does.
If you could just not lead her as to what the response is.
I'm sorry, what?
If you could just not lead her.
All right. So do not lead your witness.
Okay. I
Rephrase your
apologize.
question.
Well, is faith one of one of the matters that Mr. Burgos-Aviles discussed?
Do not lead your witness, sir.
What?
Rephrase your question.
Well, what are one of the items that Mr. Burgos-Aviles speaks about frequently within his messages?
He speaks about a lot of things, not just, can't just narrow it down to one specific thing. He speaks about a lot of things.
Does he speak about spirituality?
He does.
Okay.
I'm going to say it again. Look, John twice says, sounds like they're fast speed. If you read on here, right, I'm just letting you guys know what we're doing. While we're waiting for the court, who knows what they're doing. Witness was Dana Sarkis from the Webb County Jail. We're listening to calls and emails from earlier from the morning session on 1.5 speed. That's what we are busy doing while we wait. We are monitoring the court over here. I've got another screen over there. I'm playing the calls and we're just listening, okay? So let's just listen and see if we pick up anything else. Because the first time was like, what? Okay, so let's continue.
Does he talk to his children?
I do not know.
Does he speak to his grandmother?
He does speak to his grandmother.
Okay. So at this time, I believe it's been admitted into evidence. I'm asking that Exhibit 18.1 be published to the jury.
Go ahead.
So we'll need the defense.
It's on already. We just need to get the file out.
I apologize. As I understand, and
Can you approach on the last objections while you get that up?
Sure.
See, now I can just go forward.
And we're going to need help from above, from heaven.
Read that email, please.
Gabriel. Hello, Gabriel.
Here we go.
Thank you for your patience, Your Honor. I believe we've addressed the court's concerns. Thank you for alerting us. And ma'am, directing you back to Defense Exhibit 18.1. And again, this was from February 5th of 2023 from Ronald Anthony Burgos-Aviles to Amy. February 5th, 2023. Could you read that email, please?
Gabriel. Hello, Gabriel. I hope you're doing well. I heard you're already 5'8". Dang, you're going to be taller than me. That's a good sign. You're supposed to be better, stronger, wiser, smarter version of me. Then if you have our own kids, God willing, they're supposed to be better versions of you. Now you got to clean up your diet and get more leaner and stronger. I know you can.
and pause. Again, welcome to the Grizzly K commentary. This is my channel. My name is Grizzly K. I'm South African living in the Netherlands, and I make commentary when we're waiting around. Instead of waiting for court all day long, because who knows how long this will be, we are listening to the calls and the emails and everything that Dana Sarkis, the witness, shared earlier. And just there, he's freaking Burgos is talking to his son. You need to be leaner. You need to be stronger. If you have children, they must be better than you. You must also be better than me. You must be, bro, you have absolutely no right to be doing this. Sorry, no, sir. You're literally a double homicide and baby killer, might I add, sitting in jail. Ew. You can't be preaching to anyone about how they should live their life.
Can do it. Don't forget about prayer, Gabriel. A global war is approaching, and we're going to need help from above, from heaven. It's for real this time. It's always been real. Don't let your brother and mom behind. Never. Never leave a man behind. I think it's some Army Ranger thing. Well, yours should be, don't leave your mom and brother behind. Behave, all right? I'm still pay attention to what you do. Don't think I'm not. Love you.
Never leave a man behind, but sure, just murder a baby and leave them out in nature, right? Sorry if that's triggering. It is. I'm just trying to make the point of this guy being like, never leave a man behind. Do you realize what you've done?
Damien. Hi, Damien. I hope you're doing well. Hope school is all right. Don't forget to read your Bible, okay? Learn the Psalms and read them with your brother and mom. Meditate on the Psalms and uncover their meanings. Learn the truths behind them. Unlock the power of God's promises. I believe in you. So you're almost 5 foot. You're getting there. Couple more months at the most. Be good to your family. And pay attention to what you're doing, okay? Don't think I'm not. I love you a lot and I miss you, Gabriel. Amy.
Right. It's just like, you better pray, you better be good, you better do this, you better do that. Don't think I forget about you, because I don't, okay? Right, as if they're ever going to trust you. You literally killed their brother, their half-brother. Hello, when he was 18 months old. Wow. Tiff says, hold music on 2 times speed is hectic. Welcome, Joanne.
Hi there. I hope you're rehabilitated your shoulder with stretching and some exercise. I'm glad that you're still reading the Bible with Damien and Gabriel. At this point, it's all that matters. I'm glad that you're preparing for the difficult times that are upon all of us. I'm glad that God took the stumbling block from your life and your kids. Me. It was necessary so y'all can get right on track. I didn't know it then, but I know it now. Keep praying with them and everything will be okay. I'll call you some other day. I didn't want to waste your money since you had a tire in a garage door and I don't know what else to fix. I'm pretty sure you heard about China's spy balloon that got shot down yesterday off the coast of North Carolina. I know I've said it before. The chess pieces continue to move. It's a matter of time. Be ready and pray, pray, pray. The upcoming global conflict is approaching. All the nations that will be involved are moving into place. UK and Japan signed a pact allowing UK troops in Japan. US and Philippines agreed to allow more US military presence in the Philippines. The area it's being slowly saturated and the stage it's being set for will come soon. China, it's spying on us. Who knows if they make the first move. Don't be
Okay, Burgos. This is your priority, to be like, oh my word, there was a spy balloon and I saw it with my little tablet in my cell. China is spying on us. Yeah, well, Grizzly, True Crime, and the entire community, we're spying on you. We are your worst nightmare, bro. Because he's so worried about his reputation. He's like, okay, the comments are not that bad on Facebook, right? Before the trial. Before they even knew that all of us existed. We are Burgos's biggest problem. Because, yeah, we will rip his reputation to shreds as if he didn't do that himself already. Wow. Yeah. China is spying on us. Yes, and we're spying on you, sir, as you there at your death penalty trial. Okay, moving on. Is it too fast, by the way? I could make it slightly slower. This is on 1.5 speed. I'll make it 1.25, so it's a little bit better.
be afraid. God is telling us this so we can know that He is still in control, that He knows about this. He never got caught off guard. Keep praying and doing all you've been doing. Hope you have a nice week. Tell everybody good night, or day if you read this tomorrow. I hope Coda is feeling good.
So at least we got through one email there. I see the judge's head. Let's see what happens. We saw him, right? A little bit.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, if I believe the district attorney asked you about a phone call with Ms. Rosado.
Correct?
And Mr. Burgos-Aviles was, I think it's fair to say, rude to his wife in that phone call. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, when we take a phone call, a single phone call, that you would agree that that is out of context in a relationship, would you not?
It's just a phone call that I hear That's all I can testify to the actual phone call.
So, for instance, when we hear that phone call, we don't know about the years and years of the relationship before that phone call. Is that correct?
Right, just from the time he was in jail until now.
And so I believe the district attorney asked you about the decreasing the number of phone calls in the first 5 years that Ronald was incarcerated, and then you switched to the new system in December of 2022?
Correct.
And then the phone calls had decreased.
That's correct.
Okay. Now, we don't know the context or why, do we?
We do not know.
Okay. So, for instance, it could be that Ronald's wife.
Let me get the question in first.
Well, it could be for money reasons as to why those phone calls have decreased.
I cannot answer that because I do not know.
So I believe on the state's exhibit, for instance, that you authenticated originally, it gave the list of phone calls on the new system as well as the costs that were associated with them.
Correct.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, right, a missed call was almost $2. I believe it was $1.90.
I do not recall that.
Do you know if Ronald calls his family, whether if they don't pick up, if it charges Ronald's account?
I am not sure.
And can I direct your attention to Exhibit 18.2? And this is one of the emails that you looked at before your testimony today.
Correct.
Okay. And this is from Mr. Burgos-Aviles, again to Amy, we understand to be his wife. And this is February 22nd of 2023. Yes, ma'am?
Correct.
Okay. So, again, a few months ago.
Correct.
And could you read this email?
It's titled Happy Birthday. February 22nd, 2023. Hello, good
February 22nd, 2023. Let's listen how Burgos says happy birthday to his wife, right?
morning. Happy birthday. This is a part of the year in which you get to be a cougar and I get to be a cub. Also, it's a part of the year in which I can sing you a couple songs. You already heard them before. I hope that you get to eat some nice steak or food with my mamia.
With my mother.
I told her.
I hope you get to eat some nice steak with my mother. Okay. I like how in that moment, if you missed it, Dennis Sarkis was looking at the translator like hello, waiting for that translation. Her mind works very fast, like ours, you guys. It's like, go, go, go. Laura said, thank you for all. I feel utterly sorry for his wife and children. Abuse comes on every level, and this man is abusive, coercive. I really hope she can pull away and make better decisions for her kids. Thank you so much, Laura. Yes. Okay, so it's like, happy birthday. Why does he say you can be a cougar and I can be a cub? What, is she like 1 year older than him or what? This guy, my word. Anyway, thank you so much, Mary.
I heard to get you a book called The Return of the Gods. I hope you and Gabriel get to read it. Jonathan Kahn, as I am told, used to be a skeptic. He is a real Jew, descendant of Israel. His father and grandfather were or are Orthodox Jewish rabbis, so he is familiar with the Torah. He was a God denier. He once said he would accept Jesus on his deathbed. Well, Jesus heard and Jesus granted. He got into a freak car accident and died. He had a near-death experience and went to heaven and met Joshua. So Jesus sent him back with a mission. Jonathan gets divine revelations on the behind-the-scenes of different events in the U.S. that involves the spiritual realm. His first book that catapulted him to fame, The Harbinger, reveals the behind-the-scenes of 9/11, why the Twin Towers, why 9/11, why people from the Middle East and not China.
Dude, you're sounding like Latisha over there. It's just like in the weirdest moments talking about all sorts of things. This book, that book, Apocalypse, 9/11, look at this. I mean, that's some happy birthday message, isn't it?
China, Russia, North Korea, or any other nation. Why airplanes? Why New York City? The mystery is so complex that he had to make the second part, Harbinger 2. Anyways, this book deals with something else. If you read it, you will understand and learn about who's behind the scenes and what's happening in the U.S. and why. You probably are saying, I know who. There's no secret. Yes and no. Yes, he is responsible, but there's more. There's a plan and a method, and he's got help. Since I know you are into the sinister and mysterious and insidious, I thought that maybe you would like this book of his. Hope you give it a chance. I hope Gabriel does too. It's his generation who will be in the front lines more than ours. We got it bad. They gonna get it worse. The book touches on subjects that are controversial. You need to remember that we were born into this current mainstream philosophies. So for us, it's normal. For us, it's normal.
Oh, into these current mainstream philosophies. Later, he also said something about them fabricating a plan against him and that he didn't do anything. Oh, is that part of the mainstream agenda? So that's how you gaslight. It's mainstream, but then also these YouTubers and their fabrication of the facts. I did nothing.
But doesn't mean it's right, and that he, Eternal Supreme Court, approves. So instead of arguing and saying that God doesn't know, maybe it's us that don't. Remember I told you like 3 weeks ago I had a dream with Gabriel and I wanted to talk to him, but he was in the shower? Well, I spoke with him 2 days ago, and my dream was right. He is being bullied by a freaking 6'3" tall kid. A freaking niño saurio.
A Saudo child.
Niño saurio. He said he can't do nothing
Dinosaur.
because the kid, it's way huge for Gabriel to do something. That's not nice at all. And if he tells on the kid, they're going to make fun of him and it's going to be worse for Gabriel. I didn't know what to tell him. I'm still thinking. I wish you a happy birthday. I hope you're doing fine. I'm sure it sucks, but so far you have made it. And you will keep going. You're a complainer for sure, but you're not a quitter for sure. Have a heart like a truck, like the song Heart Like a Truck by Lainey Wilson. I like the song a lot. I hope you have a heart like a truck so you won't give up. Have a good day at work. Happy birthday.
Did you like the birthday message, guys? Hard Like a Truck by Lainey Wilson. Lyrics. Let's have a listen. Not a listen to the song. Can't play songs on here. Okay, so Heart Like a Truck, the song you just referred to is, I never stay in one place too long. A dirt road singing me a siren song. I gotta find a field. I need to spin my wheels. I got a hankering for 4 wide tires, and I can't help. It's the way I'm wired. Before you get too close, boy, you need to know. Yeah, boy, you need to know. I got a heart like a truck. It's been dragged through the mud. Runs on dreams and gasoline. And that old highway holds the key. It's got a lead foot down when it's leaving. Lord knows it's taken a hell of a beating. A little bit of love is all that it's needing. But it's good as it is tough. I got a heart like a truck. Can't do anything but eye roll that in his context. If anyone loves the song, good. I'm talking about him. Burgos. Manipulating people, being like, listen to the song, listen to the song. I really like that song a lot. Happy birthday. Also listen to the song. I mean, me. I'm the victim here, right? That's what he's trying to say. I can't play the song. It's got copyright issues on YouTube. The stream will get shut down within 2 minutes. So he said, okay, we continue. Not he said, the lyrics continue. There ain't no breaking when I throw it in drive. Don't always keep it in between the lines. If you're ready for a ride, pedal down, state of mind. Boy, I tell you what, you better buckle up. Oh, we are buckled up. As Janet said earlier, we got our Walmart buckles on. We got new and spare Walmart buckles. We are buckled up. And we are ready for sentencing. Yes. Yeah, what the hell is going on? We don't know what's going on here. What is going on in the courtroom? Live. We don't know. So now we're just going over the calls and emails and things again. So yes, okay. So, did I miss something? Okay. Thank you so much, Copper Horse, for reminding everyone what the hashtags are. Please like and share the video and use the hashtags Ronald Burgos-Aviles trial or Ronald Aviles trial, Laredo, Texas, Grizzly True Crime. Those are all great. Thank you so much. Yeah, H2O Delirious. I thought I saw the judge's head. Oh, where'd you go? Where did he go? So to continue on with the song that he has told his wife, you need to listen to it. You need to listen to the song. It's called Heart Like a Truck, Lainey Wilson lyrics. Rachel Boys, thank you so much for your sticker. So, he said you better buckle up in the song, right? So then the song goes like this. I got a heart like a truck. It's been dragged through the mud. Again, it's the chorus. Runs on dreams and gasoline. No shade to the song. I'm going to put a disclaimer in here. I'm not shading the song or anyone who likes the song. I'm roasting Burgos and how his pea brain works about this song. That's it. Okay. So imagine Burgos in his cell thinking of the song. Okay, there we go. I got a heart like a truck. It's been dragged through the mud. Runs on dreams and gasoline, and that old highway holds the key. It's got a lead foot down when it's leaving. Lord knows it's taken a hell of a beating. A little bit of love is all that it's needing. but it's good as it is tough. I got a heart like a truck. Go on and see if you can knock off the dust. Yeah. Shine it up, rev it up, and let it run. Yeah. It gets a high, riding off into the sun. Yeah. And the chorus again. Go on and see if you can knock off the dust. Yeah. Shine it up, rev it up, and let it run. Yeah. It gets high, riding off into the sun. It gets high, riding off into the sun. Hope it gets high, riding off into the sun as you get sentenced. Bye-bye now. Man. So, okay, that was that. Let's continue on here.
Thank you. Now, could I direct your attention to Defendant's Exhibit 18.3? And you recall when you last testified for the state that it was a phone call about between Ronald and who you understood to be his mother.
Correct.
Okay, and he was very rude to his mother. And it was, I believe, the day after we started this trial. Is that correct?
I do not recall the date, but I recall the phone call.
Okay. And again, everyone here has a mother. Would you agree that relationships with our parents are complicated?
Sometimes, yes.
Okay. And a phone call is out
But how do you assume everybody here has a mother? What if there's someone in the room that doesn't have one? Or is he just saying it in general, you know what I mean?
of context to the entirety of the relationship?
I can just testify to the phone call, what was heard on the phone call.
Now, you understood the mother's name to be Defendant's Exhibit 18.3 is an email from July 5th, 2023 from... Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the title, the subject of the email is what?
Bendición, July 5th, 2023.
July 5th, 2023. Okay.
And
Blessing, July 5th, 2023.
so this is after the phone call that the district attorney played. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
And if I could direct your attention to the text of the phone call, and this is where we'll need the translator.
Yes. Bendición, perdona mi tono.
Blessing, forgive my tone.
Estoy contento que viniste.
Interpreter request repetition.
Estoy contento que viniste.
I'm happy that you came.
Gracias.
Just correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Is this the one with his mom? Is this the phone call with his mom? After the one that the prosecution told us about, or played, where he was shouting at his mom for being in the courtroom. Right? Doug says, what is this all about? Yeah, that's it. You see? Don't fake the funk. Says Grizz's son doesn't have a mother. Boggs is like, everybody here has got a mother. Okay, a mother was killed in this case. Not a great statement. Okay, so yes, this is email. This is on repeat because we're waiting for the court. We don't know what is going on here. Okay.
Thank you.
Solo que cuando me enteré, como que me fui web balance por las noticias.
Just when I found out, I went off balance because of the news.
Hubiese querido estar más preparado.
I would have wanted to be more prepared.
Ya sabes que las cámaras están pendientes a uno, a todo lo que hago y digo.
And you know that the cameras are watching everything that I do and say.
No te pude llamar porque no pusiste dinero.
I couldn't call you because you didn't deposit any money.
Te iba a decir, no te desesperes ni hagas caras.
See, July 5th, that's just a few days ago. Today's July 14th. July 5th, he's like, you know the cameras are watching everything I do. D-Re-C, thank you for upgrading your membership. Okay, so let's continue on.
I was going to tell you, don't get frustrated and don't make faces.
No hagas escándalo cuando esto acabe.
Don't make a scandal when this ends.
Gane o pierda, acuérdate que están grabando esto.
Whether I win or lose, remember they are recording this.
Y cualquier cosa,
Don't make a scandal after this. Whether I win or lose, you know they are recording this. So he's already telling his own mother how she should behave, whether he wins or loses. You mean whether you're found guilty or not? You were found guilty. Whether you get the death penalty or not, we'll see. But he's like, don't make a scandal. Whether I win or lose, you know they're recording this. That's his concern. You know they're recording it. It's all about his image.
Peace ser usada para mal.
And anything can be used for bad.
So tranquilita, please.
So remain calm, please.
Me dijo Sara que la muchacha Liz te dijo unas cosas interesantes.
Father told me that the young girl Les told you a couple of interesting things.
¿Por qué no me has contado?
Why haven't you told me?
Escríbeme y cuéntame todo, please.
Write to me and tell me everything, please.
Voy a esperar.
I will be waiting.
Me disculpo y te pido perdón por mi actitud y lenguaje.
I apologize and I'm asking you for forgiveness for my attitude and language.
No estuvo bien. Perdón.
It wasn't right. I'm sorry.
So on the Defendant's Exhibit 18, you also listened to a phone call. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that was a part of the logs at the Webb County Jail, correct?
Correct.
And the district attorney did not choose to play that phone call. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Judge, at this time, I'd ask to publish Defendant's Exhibit 18-4. Oh, I apologize, Judge. Judge, we have a demonstrative to be heard.
I'm going to go forward again.
While the call is played.
I started. This is the story.
And no. And no. Okay. What was the story?
Oh, because I was reading a book called Gut Wings or something like that. So some guy left me here.
Okay.
And it's talking about like when gut wings at you, and it has like all these little stories, like prayer stories or whatever. And there was like some cool stories. And then like last night I was reading, right, and I stopped reading, and because I started thinking about like, I don't know, like some random thought. Well, not random, right? But I was saying like, because I had seen a boat on TV, and then I was thinking about it, and I said, man, if I had a boat, like a boat, why would I name the boat, right?
Okay.
What are you laughing?
Because I see funny boat names all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, I was thinking, what would I name my boat if I had a boat? Like if I had a boat before or whatever. And I said,
Okay.
I might actually have to show you this one. This is the point at which his counsel started crying. Well, I'd rather timestamp it for you. That is what I will do. So just listen for now. Let's just concentrate on listening. If he had a boat, he'd call it Second Chance. Someone earlier said it's the Doom. It should be called Doom, the boat of Doom. Let's listen.
I said I would name it Second Chance, right?
Oh, nice. Okay.
So when I started reading the story, this is the people that they were like gonna cross like I don't know, somewhere in Louisiana, their stories or whatever. And there was like some cool stories. And then like last night I was reading, right, and I stopped reading, and because I started thinking about like, I don't know, like some random thought. Well, not random, right? But I was saying like, because I had seen a boat on TV, and then I was thinking about it, and I said, man, if I had a boat, like a boat, why would I name the boat, right?
Okay.
What are you laughing?
Because I see funny boat names all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, I was thinking, what would I name my boat if I had a boat? Like if I had a boat before or whatever. And I said I would name it Second Chance, right?
I was just checking. He said Second Chance and not like Fifth Chance. He said second. I see the judge's head.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So when I started reading the story, this is before I read the story, then I started reading the next story, and it's about two people that they were like gonna cross like I don't know, somewhere in Louisiana, and a storm was coming, and they wanted to beat the storm, obviously, but it went wrong. The ship got hit by a wave. They were like sinking or whatever. They were in the water for a whole bunch of time, and it was cold. It was bad. They thought they were gonna die, and then the guy was thinking to himself all the time that his mom.
Okay, the court sound is back on. If you want to hear the rest of those calls without interruptions, it's going to be in the morning session, okay? This morning session, day 13 morning. We were just trying to wait for what's happening in the court by re-listening to some of them. We already learned a lot. Judge's head alert, yes. Steph is like, judge's head. We could see it. Okay, so, and he's got his styrofoam cup, which means he wants his coffee to what? Stay hot? Is that what he said? Okay. That's right. Molly Cuddle says all he needs is a plane, a boat, and some
Thank you.
boxes to
Please
get
have a
out
seat.
now. Okay, we're ready.
Mr. Pena, Mr. Boggs.
Judge, at this time, the defense is moving to admit Defense Exhibit 19 under the public records exception.
And we did have a hearing on this already. The court has taken into account everyone's position on it and made rulings, so consistent with that, the defendant's 19 would be admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And your next witness, sir.
Judge, for the record, defendant's 19 is 19 pages.
Thank you, sir, for that. Before you do the next announcement, could I ask also for you all to I'm going to ask you a question with regard to a couple of things. Mr. Pena, Mr. Boggs? I should have done that before we came in.
Oh, a couple of questions. We are buckling, Janet, we're buckling in. You got your Walmart buckles, and we are ready. Day 13 afternoon is now starting. Now it starts. Okay, and they obviously were preparing this 19-page exhibit. So let's see what they got. Timar says a narcissist will never admit he's wrong. Exactly. I agree. And I just, Annie says, I find it really unnerving that Thea was crying. She's entitled to her emotions.
Any other witnesses?
Judge, at this time, the defense rests.
Defense rest.
Well, the defense has rested.
Defense is rested.
Mr. Alanis, do you close or do you call rebuttal?
I'll call a rebuttal witness.
Ooh.
Dr. Dagoberto Gonzalez Jr., please come forward.
Dr. Roberto Gonzalez Jr., right? Did I hear it correct? A rebuttal witness. The defense has rested. Oh my gosh, yes.
Good afternoon, sir. Please come forward.
Dr. Gonzalez?
Good afternoon. Your name, sir? Please raise your right hand and be sworn.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? I do.
Thank you, sir. Please just go around the court. Porter up here on the witness box. Take a seat, pull up your chair, and Mr. Anis, you can proceed when ready.
All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to ask you to scoot up and speak into the mic. Make sure the green light is on so that the court reporter can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Can you please state your name for the record?
Dagoberto Gonzalez Jr.
Okay. And how are you employed?
I am self-employed as a physician.
Okay. How long have you been a physician?
I've been practicing out of residency for 23 years.
Okay. And in what area of medicine do you practice?
I'm an obstetrician, gynecologist, and I have several other, I have a medical spa, and I'm also the owner of Hormone Balance of Laredo.
Okay. Did you did you turn over a CV to the state?
I did.
Okay, can I approach?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 586. Ask you if you recognize this document.
I do. It's my CV.
Okay, thank you. I believe I did tender one to the defense. Is this the same one? To offer State's Exhibit 586.
Any objections?
No objection.
Admitted.
Thank you. So I want to begin first by an orientation with the jury of your background. Okay. Can we start with your education post high school?
Okay, I attended Texas A&M University and graduated there with a degree in biomedical science. Then I went to medical school at Texas A&M University as well. I then joined the Air Force and went active duty and did my residency in San Antonio at Lackland Air Force Base.
And how long were you in the Air Force?
I was active duty for 8 years.
Okay. Talk to us and continue on with your, or if I could put this up so that you can walk us through.
Okay.
Okay. So you're talking about your medical school?
Correct.
Your undergraduate was in 1992?
Correct.
Okay. And your medical student education, is that your residency?
Oh, I'm sorry, that appears to be a typo, yeah. No, that's incorrect, that's a typo. Those are my appointments, my professional appointments.
Or if you can tell us that, if you can just correct it.
Sure. My residency is up on top of the screen where it says San Antonio Uniformed Services Health Education Consortium, right there. That's where I did my residency. That was in San Antonio at Lackland Air Force Base and Brooke Army Medical Center. And down at the bottom under professional, you're supposed to, well, it's basically resident education, medical school, student education. So that's what I do as well. I'm an assistant professor with University of Incarnate Word. I'm one of their professors for the residency program, and I'm also one of the assistant professors for their medical school.
Now, what type of appointments do you have?
I'm currently the chief of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology at Laredo Medical Center. Also, I was a Board of Trustee member at Laredo Medical Center for almost over 10 years. And I've also served as the Chief of Staff of Laredo Medical Center, which is basically the physician that oversees all physician endeavors.
What about your military staff appointments?
As I mentioned earlier, I did my residency at Lackland Air Force Base. After completing residency in San Antonio, I stayed on as an attending physician at Lackland Air Force Base and Brooke Army Medical Center as one of their attendings, one of their professors. After 2 years, then I was moved to Phoenix, Arizona, to Luke Air Force Base, where I was an obstetrician and gynecologist with them for the final 2 years of my active duty.
What rank did you achieve in the Air Force?
Major.
You've also, in your history, 23 years, you said 23 years?
23 years, yes.
Okay. You've also received honors and awards?
Correct. Well, I've been chosen here in Laredo as the best OBGYN for several years. It's chosen by the people. I've won the award 6 or 8 times, and I've won other awards. Most importantly, I was the outstanding chief resident and the best gynecologic surgeon they had in the residency program in San Antonio.
Did you also receive any awards when you were in the military?
I did. I received multiple medals because we were in a wartime situation, and I did multiple humanitarian missions in South and Central America, serving as a physician for underserved people of those countries.
What type of societies do you belong to?
I'm currently a member of the Texas Medical Association, the Webb County Medical Association, the American Association of Gynecologic Laparoscopists, Texas Association of OBGYNs, and the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology.
And doctor, do you also have publications?
I do. I had several publications while I was active duty.
Okay, what are some of those?
I got chosen to talk about several instances in pregnancy, sickle cell hemolytic crisis in pregnancy. Another publication where a patient was stung by a black widow while she was pregnant, went into active labor. And then I also worked with hypercoagulation and Lupron therapy for patients with fibroids and vaginal bleeding.
Are these other awards that you've received?
Yeah, there are publications that were,
Publications?
yeah, there are publications in peer-reviewed journals, yes, sir.
And of course, you stated briefly some of your humanitarian assistance.
Right, while I was active duty with the Air Force, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, as part of this case, were you able to review some medical records?
I was.
And do you know who those records? Do you remember the name of who they pertain to?
Ronald Anthony Burgos.
Okay. May I approach one?
Yes, you may.
Show you State's Exhibit number 7.
Okay.
Are those? You can look at those. Are those the records you looked at?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so you reviewed those. Now, I remember when I gave you those records, you had also asked me for something else. Remember what that was?
I asked you for any laboratory evaluation regarding Mr. Burgos' testosterone levels.
Okay. May I approach him? I'll show you State's Exhibit 585.
Okay.
You recognize those documents?
I do.
Did you review these documents?
I did.
Move to offer State's 585.
Any objections?
No objection.
Admitted.
Thank you. So first of all, I want to ask you about your experience with the administration of or prescription of testosterone.
Okay.
Okay. What type of experience do you have with that?
Well, as I mentioned, I have a business where it's called Hormone Balance of Laredo, where we focus on optimizing hormones in both men and women, and testosterone is a hormone that we prescribe for men. I've been the owner of that business for over 9 years, and we have treated multiple men and women. I also understand the pharmacokinetics of testosterone. I attend multiple conferences yearly on testosterone. I'm also one of the speakers regarding testosterone for the company that I work for, and I'm also a mentor. And at one point, I supervised over 25 physicians regarding testosterone therapy. So I fielded questions all day long from them regarding controversies in testosterone.
Okay. How many? So how long have you been prescribing testosterone?
For over 9 years.
And an estimate of how many patients have you administered or prescribed testosterone to?
I would say in the thousands.
Okay. Are you familiar with a drug called phentermine?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what your experience is with phentermine?
Phentermine, I have been prescribing it ever since I moved back to Laredo in 2004. As you know, phentermine is a stimulant that works on the brain to suppress appetite.
Okay. And how many times have you prescribed phentermine?
I would probably say hundreds, thousands.
Okay. And what about Arimidex?
Arimidex is a medication that we use frequently. If you prescribe testosterone, you have to understand the way testosterone gets broken down in the human body. And testosterone, doesn't matter if it's male or female, will get broken down into estrogen. And obviously we don't want that in either men or women. So Arimidex is what we call an estrogen blocker. And it's important for balancing testosterone So the estrogen that gets converted doesn't get too high or too low. If it gets too high, then men typically will feel very emotional. They can develop gynecomastia, which is more fat distributed to their breast.
Okay. Now, this business that you have, hormone therapy, is called, what is the name of your business again?
Hormone Balance of Laredo.
That's additional to your gynecology practice.
Correct.
Now, getting back to testosterone, phentermine, and Arimidex, I want to talk about side effects.
Okay.
Okay. Let's start off with testosterone. Side effects
Okay.
for testosterone.
Well, testosterone, as you know, every medication is going to have side effects. You pull up Tylenol, you're going to see 3 pages of a single-spaced list of side effects. So testosterone could have multiple side effects to include anxiety. It can include jitteriness, anger, frustration, impatience, and like as I mentioned, if not properly balanced, it can lead to many characteristics of being hyper-emotional.
Is psychosis a side effect of testosterone?
No.
So what happens if, for example, somebody consumes high levels of testosterone?
Well, there are multiple different types of testosterones. There are testosterones that are what we call anabolic, which are synthetic, man-made, and their job is to make somebody very muscular and built, very popular in the 80s and 90s, Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example. So those types of steroids lead to significant rage and anger, as you heard, the roid rage, because those estrogens were not properly balanced, and the doses were significantly higher than the ones that we traditionally prescribe.
Okay. What about side effects of taking phentermine by itself?
Well, phentermine is centrally acting stimulant, which works at the level of the brain. The mechanism of how it causes appetite suppression is unknown, but it's in a category of amphetamines. It's not an amphetamine. It's a subtype of a drug similar to that. And as you know, a stimulant basically is somewhat like an upper. So you get hyperactive, you can get anxiety, you can get nervousness, and there are some, you can even get depression, and there's even psychosis as a side effect of phentermine.
And let's talk about that. Have you done any research regarding psychosis connected to phentermine?
Yes.
And do you have an opinion as to how it would manifest or appear?
Well, phentermine, well, first of all, the side effect of psychosis with phentermine is incredibly rare. A very, very rare side effect, but it has been noted in the literature, and there are approximately 3 or 4 case reports that phentermine has caused psychosis in patients. However, they were all with very unique features. For example, one of the studies was where the person took the phentermine and immediately after the symptom of psychosis occurred, so there's no delay. Number 2, it was always taken with another medication called fenfluramine, which was very common also in the 90s, 80s, and 90s. It was called fen-phen. So the psychosis was associated with those 2 medications. And lastly, the most important one, it was taken, the psychosis was formed when the person took very high levels of phentermine, not normal prescription levels. So a person was ingesting 4 to 5 times of what they were prescribed, and that's how the psychosis formed.
And how readily prescribed is phentermine in the United States or in the world, for that matter?
Oh, it's probably one of the most widely prescribed medications.
Okay. And of all the thousands of patients that you've prescribed testosterone, have any of your patients ever suffered from psychosis?
No.
What about phentermine?
No, never. And we do have patients on testosterone and phentermine combined, but there is absolutely no drug interaction with phentermine and testosterone combined causing psychosis. It doesn't exist.
Well, explain what you say, drug, what, during simple language.
Well, for example, if you take a drug and you take another one at the same time, sometimes they don't work well together. And one can either potentiate the effect of the other, or it can lessen the effect of the other, or it can make it work in a different manner. So therefore, when you're prescribed a medication, or you go to any pharmacy, immediately your pharmacist will enter into a system whether you have any drug-drug interactions to make sure that they don't prescribe you that medication, or else you're going to have some type of side effect that was not expected.
So it's your professional opinion that combining testosterone and phentermine do not cause psychosis?
Correct.
And what if we throw what is it?
Arimidex.
Arimidex in there?
No, absolutely not. Because Arimidex, as I mentioned, is an estrogen blocker. It does not increase somebody's testosterone. It blocks the conversion of testosterone to estrogen, which is what the human body wants to do. So what it does, it stabilizes testosterone and maybe keeps it at the level that it's supposed to be longer, but it doesn't increase it.
And when you said earlier in that phentermine case at the onset of ingestion, what does that mean in plain language?
Well, that means the symptom or the side effect is going to occur shortly after ingested.
So right when you start taking it?
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Now in front of you, you have defendant's exhibit, I think it's 7, is it? The big.
Correct.
Okay. And what are those?
They're Mr. Burgos' medical records from Dr. Oscar Perez.
And have you had a chance to review those for your testimony today?
I did.
Okay. And once you reviewed these, can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what was Mr. Burgos being prescribed?
Mr. Burgos was prescribed from starting January 4th of 2016. He was prescribed Arimidex, testosterone, nystatin for cholesterol, and phentermine.
Okay. Were you able to, when you reviewed these documents in coming to court or prepping for court, were you able to determine if the levels of testosterone and phentermine and Arimidex were high, low, or standard?
I only have one set of blood work from Mr. Burgos that was given to me. This blood work was in 2018, which was approximately 2 years after Mr. Burgos had been prescribed testosterone.
And what do those records tell you? The blood, are you able to interpret those blood?
Yes, the level of testosterone was 5,951, but that's used in a scale where normal is 2,600 and 10,000. So it falls right in the middle. So his testosterone level was normal. It was normal. And to be honest, if you're giving testosterone therapy, it's actually not even optimal for that kind of therapy because it's low.
Okay. And what exhibit are you testifying from right now? That
State Exhibit 585.
Okay. So you're finding that at the time of in 2018, his testosterone levels were normal.
Correct.
Okay. What about phentermine? There was testimony. Did you get to watch Dr. Gupta's testimony?
I did.
Okay. Did you hear him testifying about the phentermine dosages?
I did.
Okay. And in this case, what was the phentermine amount prescribed to Mr. Burgos?
The amount was 37.5 of phentermine.
Okay, and can you tell us about that amount?
Right. Well, there's 3 different doses for phentermine. It's 15 milligrams, 37.5, and then there's an extended release, which is 105 milligrams of phentermine. And most people prescribe the 37.5, and you can either take it twice a day, so it lasts longer, so you break the tablet in half, so you're really taking like 15 plus milligrams in the morning and 15 in the afternoon. And that's what he was prescribed by Dr. Perez. At one time, he was giving him the full dose daily, which was the normal dose, and then at other times, he had prescribed it for half a tablet twice a day.
Okay. And based on your records that you see here, is it possible that Mr. Burgos was poisoned by his doctor?
Well, no, because the definition of poison means was he given too much of a medication. the medication that he was prescribed, which both are controlled substances, as you heard, they're got to be monitored by the state and they're monitored by pharmacists. Both the medications that he prescribed were at the appropriate time frames. And the refills were only 2 every time, so it forced the patient to come back every 3 months to get more refills.
And what sort of safeguards are in place in your industry to make sure that a person isn't overdosing?
Right. Well, there are multiple, especially with these medications that are controlled substances. So, before you would just, several years ago, you would go to a physician, if you needed Tylenol number 3 or something with codeine, he would just write you a prescription pad, and a little piece of paper, and you would take it. You can't do that anymore. It has to be done very properly through a computer system, and then it gets registered with the state. So the Department of Public Safety has records too, so make sure that the patient's not abusing it. And then moreover, you have to submit it through a different program to make sure that they're not abusing it or getting it from multiple physicians.
And everything regarding the prescription levels that were being administered to Mr. Burgos, how did they appear to you?
They were normal. They were the usual standard doses prescribed to people.
Okay. Now, what about there was testimony, if you saw Dr. Gupta's testimony, that he opined on the fact that, for example, with the Arimidex,
Correct.
Or with the testosterone and the testicular dysfunction.
Right.
Can you talk about that?
He mentioned that since the diagnosis was testicular dysfunction, therefore he didn't produce testosterone. And Dr. Gupta's argument was, well, if he has 2 children, then he has normal sperm, and therefore he has normal testosterone. And that's not true. Testosterone and semen production are from 2 different parts of the testicle and completely independent of each other. So for example, you can have low testosterone and have multiple kids, and vice versa. You can have very high testosterone and have no sperm. So the diagnosis of testicular dysfunction is a vague diagnosis, or a diagnosis that describes that he had low testosterone, hence the indication for the treatment.
You also, Dr. Gupta also testified that the purpose with these labs popping up is so that these young persons can get buffed or muscles. Did you hear that testimony?
Correct, I did.
Was he correct on that?
Well, I completely disagree. So he had mentioned that multiple clinics have opened up throughout the country where you hear about low T, and it's because men want to feel buff and big and have energy and have an increased sex drive. And that's not at all why these clinics are opening throughout the country. The reason they're opening throughout the country is that we have made great strides across the world in a consensus meetings to discover that low testosterone has adverse effects on men's health. So we know that you have to run in the upper 25% of normal testosterone ranges in order to have optimal health. And you're not compromising your heart, your brain for dementia, your bones for osteoporosis, and even prostate cancer has been shown to be more prevalent with lower testosterone. So the goal of these therapies is not to get people buff and improve those symptoms I discussed. Yes, it improves quality of life because you feel better, but more importantly, it protects your heart and protects your brain and your bones.
Now, in reviewing Mr. Burgos-Aviles' medical records, was he receiving treatment for any other medical conditions?
Well, he was prescribed nystatin. So nystatin is traditionally prescribed for elevated cholesterol or triglycerides, which is a type of cholesterol. And one visit, he was treated for a sexually transmitted disease with antibiotics.
And what sort of STD was that?
Gonorrhea and chlamydia.
Is there anything else in the records that you reviewed regarding Mr. Burgos-Aviles' visits regarding patient notes or screenings?
When I read these charts, I was, at first I said, well, this physician was pretty comprehensive. You know, he did everything correctly. He prescribed the controlled substances with only 2 refills. He made sure the patient came back after 3 months, and he did a very extensive screen every time he came in and a thorough physical exam, which is what you're supposed to do if you're prescribing these medications. And every single visit, he did that. You know, everybody in this room, or the jury, you guys have been to a physician before, and there's 2 components to a physician visit, which is going to be the interview section where they're going to talk to you and ask you what's wrong or how you've been feeling and if you've had any side effects to medication, and then there's the physical exam. And that's what he did on every single visit.
And those screenings, what's the importance of those screenings?
Was to make sure that they're not having any side effects to the medications you're prescribing, or if you discover something, a new symptom a new symptom that maybe he hadn't had before, you discover a new diagnosis.
And how many of those screenings did you count in this particular set of records?
11 visits.
Okay. And in those 11 visits, did you see anything of concern reported by Mr. Burgos?
No.
Anything noted by the doctor in his?
No, it seems like the main reason he came in every time for the visits was for a refill on his medications. There was really never another problem, complaint, or anything like that.
So so is it at the end of your testimony here, is it your opinion that Mr. Burgos was not poisoned by his doctor?
It's my opinion that he was not poisoned.
Thank you. Pass the witness.
Good afternoon, Doctor. Doctor, if I could, I believe it states exhibit your resume. Is that still?
I believe he has it. No, I have it right here, 586.
So, I see that your office address is here in Laredo, and it's OBGYN of Laredo, but you said your hormone business is called what, sir?
Hormone Balance of Laredo.
Okay, so is Hormone Balance of Laredo reflected on this CV anywhere?
No.
Okay, and why is that?
I just haven't put it in.
Okay, so it's been open for 9 years?
Correct.
Okay, now, is there a website associated with Hormone Balance of Laredo?
It's either attached to my website for my practice, and or attached to Laredo Wellness and Aesthetics, which is our medical spa.
Okay, so it's attached to, what do you mean by attached to?
Well, it's a hyperlink. A patient can go and see, optimize your hormones or other services, and can click on it, and then it'll give you a drag down where you can go to the spa.
And it's an Instagram page, is that right, sir?
Well, there's a website and an Instagram page.
Okay, and then what is the website? Is the website Hormone Balance of Laredo?
No, as I mentioned, it's either attached to my practice, which is OBGYN of Laredo, or it's a hyperlink under my spa, Laredo Wellness and Aesthetics.
So I apologize, I'm just trying to understand. It's not a part of your OBGYN of Laredo practice? It's like a side business?
Correct. It's like it's a side business with a different type of company, like a limited liability company, just a record like that. Yes, sir.
So now you testified on direct examination with the district attorney, and you said that Dr. Gupta talked about these testosterone clinics popping up that give testosterone. Would you put Hormone Balance of Laredo into that category?
No, I describe it as hormone optimization. So we prescribe testosterone, we prescribe estrogen, we do weight loss, we do something called They're protein derivatives to help people feel better, such as growth hormone derivatives, things like that.
So, you said in the side business, you promote this hormone balance. Is that correct?
Well, promote it? No, we offer it.
Now, if you go to your website, Laredo Wellness, there's a whole section devoted to a specific company of hormone production. Isn't that correct?
I would imagine so, but I haven't looked at it recently.
Okay, and it's called, I believe you talk about bioidentical hormone pellet therapy.
Correct?
Right? And it's related to Biote, and that's a commercial name, correct?
Bio-T. Yes, sir.
Biote, I apologize.
Yes, sir.
It's a nice play on testosterone, Bio-T. Is that what it's meant to be?
Correct.
Okay. Now, if you go to your Instagram page for hormone therapy of Laredo, right, there's pictures of you and your staff attending the Bio-T conference. Is that correct?
Correct.
And do you get paid to attend that Bio-T conference?
No.
Okay. Does Bio-T give you any money for prescribing Bio-T to your patients?
Give me money? No.
There's no, so the pharmaceutical company doesn't pay you extra for
No.
prescribing those?
No, my insertion of the hormone pellets in patients, we charge the insertion fee and the administration fee, not the pellet fee.
Okay, so now, you testified on direct examination that testosterone does have certain side effects. I believe you said hyper-emotional anger. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right, but definitely not psychosis.
Correct.
Okay. Now, but hyper-emotional and anger, that sounds like a mood-altering or a mind-altering. Would you agree with that?
Sure.
Okay. Now, there are phases of psychosis. Isn't that true?
Sure.
And the first phase of psychosis is called prodrome. Isn't that correct?
I'm not familiar with that, that specific phase.
Okay. And just to be clear, you've won the best OBGYN of Laredo 6-8 times, many, many years.
Correct.
But you are not a psychologist.
No.
And you are not a psychiatrist.
No.
Okay. Now, you'd indicated that you prescribed phentermine, correct?
Correct.
And the longest someone is supposed to be on phentermine is about 12 weeks. Isn't that correct?
No, incorrect.
Okay. That's not what the phentermine producers say, that it should be only about 12 weeks?
If you read the insert on phentermine, nowhere did I see that it's for a 3-week or 3-month therapy.
You mean on the actual production? Is that what you're saying, sir?
Correct. You asked me if the phentermine company that makes it only allows it for 12 weeks. The medication insert, nowhere does it say that it has to be used, not 3 weeks, for 3 months.
So, well, how long is the longest that you have prescribed phentermine, sir?
Probably for about a year.
Okay, a year, is that correct?
Correct.
Right. Now, isn't the medically recommended dosage for 12 weeks at a time?
Not necessarily.
Okay, well, why not?
We all know that obesity is a chronic disease. It's a chronic disease. It doesn't go away in 3 months. So the package insert of phentermine doesn't state that the medication has to be for 3 months. There have been multiple studies that people have used phentermine for longer than 3 months, a year, 2 years, etc. And the reason that it's recommended that you stop it after 3 months is because there, as a stimulant, there's increased risk of cardiovascular risks with it. That's why it's recommended that you only do it for 3 months, but nowhere does it say it has to be. So most physicians will prescribe it as what we call as an off-label medication. So you're doing things traditionally not exactly by what it's indicated for or what the study suggests. You can use it for as an off-label.
So I apologize. You'd said that, so you're acknowledging that the recommended dosage time is about 12 weeks. Is that correct?
No, I'm not. I'm not saying that.
So I apologize. I thought that's That's what you just said. So what is the 12-week meaning with the phentermine, sir?
The recommendation by certain studies show that at 3 months, 12 weeks, you should discontinue phentermine because of an increased risk of cardiovascular issues. However, studies have shown that you can use it for longer therapy, and actually the American Academy, or one of the academies of obesity, recommends it for several years of use, although I've never done that.
And the longest you've done is 8 years?
Correct.
Now, you said that the studies that you have seen indicated that psychosis occurs very quick after in the rare cases that it does. Is that correct?
Correct.
But you don't know anything about the phases of psychosis. Is that correct?
Correct.
So, for instance, someone could be in the early stages of psychosis and they wouldn't be in full-blown psychosis, correct?
Well, I'm not going to answer that because I just told you I don't know the phases.
Okay, fair enough. Now, I want to talk about Arimidex. You said you prescribed Arimidex for men, is that correct, sir?
Correct.
Okay. Now, Arimidex says that you are not to, that it is only for postmenopausal women.
Correct.
Right? So the makers of Arimidex say Arimidex is only for postmenopausal women, but you prescribe it for men. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Well, so you do that in contravention of what the makers of Arimidex recommend. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
And now, every individual is different, correct?
Correct.
So, and that's why we know side effects, some side effects are rare and some side effects are common, correct, sir?
Correct.
So, just because you haven't had an indication of one of these extreme side effects doesn't mean that it's not possible. Isn't that correct?
Correct.
And I believe you testified on direct examination and you heard Dr. Gupta say that both testosterone and phentermine, I have problems saying it, are both controlled substances, which means that the government has decided that it's very important to monitor how they are distributed. Is that correct?
Correct.
And now, you also indicated that the lab test that you reviewed showed that a normal level of testosterone. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, in your review of that medical records, did you see any other lab test for a testosterone?
No.
Okay, so based on your review of those medical records, it doesn't appear that the testosterone was medically necessary. Is that correct?
Oh, I can't say that.
Okay. Well, you agree that Mr. Burgos-Aviles' doctor had a duty to keep accurate medical records, correct?
Correct.
And you didn't see anywhere in those medical records a test that indicated that Mr. Burgos-Aviles had low testosterone, did you?
Correct.
Now, one would only need to be prescribed testosterone if they had low testosterone. Isn't that correct?
Disagree.
Why?
I just mentioned that testosterone has a huge range of what we call normal values, and the range is anywhere from 200 to 1100. So how many times do you go to the physician and say, oh, I just feel terrible, and I don't know what's wrong, but I just feel terrible, and the first thing he says, well, your labs are fine, get out of here. The whole purpose of doing this is that we know that you do not function well, both lifestyle and inside your human body, if your testosterone is not in the upper quarter of normal. So for example, if the upper limit is 1,000, then you should live anywhere between 750 and higher.
And sir, the explanation that you just gave this jury is what you tell patients when they come into your clinic. Is that correct?
Men.
Patients.
Correct.
Yes. And well, let me ask you about this. You testified on direct examination about a treatment for STDs. Are there any, in your review of those medical records, any test for STDs?
I'm gonna need some time to go through it.
Take your time.
Thank you, Steph. Well, Dr. Snark has entered the room. I love this witness. Cheeky Charlie says, sitting on death row with his moobs for company. Remembering the good old days. Perfect torture for this monster. This was epic. So if you missed it, the defense has rested. This is a rebuttal witness, Dr. Gonzalez, for the state. And he's an expert in hormone therapy. And he's revealed a lot about Burgos right here. Including the STDs he had. But now, Boggs is going there. If I were him, I would avoid it. But maybe he enjoys embarrassing his client. And Burgos is very embarrassed.
The only thing I see is that when he presented his complaint to the physician was he wanted STD labs to be checked and that labs were checked. But the actual lab itself is not in here.
So there is no laboratory result indicating that, correct?
Correct.
And I mean, at your clinic, you would keep the lab as a part of the medical record. Is that correct?
Correct.
Because that's proper procedure, correct?
Correct.
And frankly, required by the Texas Medical Board to have a complete medical record of the patient.
Yes.
So, from what it appears in your testimony today, it appears that Mr. Burgos-Aviles' doctor prescribed him a medication without conducting a test to determine.
I'm going to object. Speculation.
Yeah, you don't know that. It's just not in the file there. Yeah. This doctor will work very well in the Grizzly family.
Repeat the question.
There is no laboratory result indicating an STD in those records.
There is not.
Okay. And it was Dr. Perez's duty to keep those records in that to keep those results in those records, correct? It was his duty to maintain a complete medical records.
He uses a different lab, and the test is performed maybe in his office or in a different lab.
Okay. I'm sorry, that's not responsive, sir. I apologize. I'd object. So I believe you're anticipating my next question, or a different question, but he has a duty to maintain complete and accurate medical records, doesn't he?
Correct.
Okay. And so if he prescribes him or treats him for a disease, but there is no test for those, that would be in violation of his duties to compile complete and accurate medical records, yes?
I presume.
Now, I just want to make sure I understand everything. You've agreed that testosterone is a mood-altering or a mind-altering drug, yes?
Correct.
Okay. And Ventramine works on the central nervous system and works on the mind, yes, sir?
Correct.
Okay. And Arimidex, by its manufacturer, says it is only for postmenopausal women, correct?
Correct.
And the longest that you have ever prescribed someone to be on Ventramine is a year.
Correct.
And according to those records, Dr. Perez had Burgos-Aviles on Ventramine for 2 years, over 2 years.
Correct.
If I could have just a moment.
Be like, just a moment. No further questions. Oh, this guy's loving it. Even Eduardo is smiling too. You look like he's smirking.
And again, sir, I apologize. You said that it is not necessary to have a test result indicating low testosterone to prescribe some testosterone. It's just if they say they're feeling a little unenergetic, then the doctor might prescribe them testosterone.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, could you repeat what you said? Correct me, please.
I said that the range of testosterone is very wide. And even though you have a quote-unquote normal, which is on the lower end of the spectrum of the normal range, people don't function to their maximum capability and have increased health risks. Hence, you could treat somebody for testosterone even though they're in the normal range.
But again, back in 2016, there was no indication of any lab which indicated a range that Mr. Burgos-Aviles was in. Is that correct?
Correct.
So when Mr. Burgos-Aviles was first prescribed in January of 2016, the doctor didn't establish a range according to those records.
Correct.
And is the name of your hormone clinic it's Hormone Therapy of Laredo, is that correct?
Hormone balance.
Hormone Balance, I apologize. And the website that it's connected to is Laredo Wellness?
Anesthetics.
Anesthetics. And that's also connected to the Instagram page. Is that, am I understanding you correct, sir?
No, I didn't say that. I told you I'm not familiar with the Instagram page if it has that.
But you do have an Instagram page.
Correct.
But you don't have anything to do with it.
Correct.
I have just a moment.
Thank you, Web Weaver.
For your patience with me, Dr.
Anything else?
Yes, the records that you've been reviewing, what defendant's exhibit number is it? The big stack?
7.
Okay. And you started to explain to Mr. Boggs the different manner in which labs are done.
Correct.
Can you explain what you were going to say?
Well, typically physicians will use a lab to get their results. It's very rare that a physician has their own lab in their office. So, for example, there's different companies, national companies like Quest or LabCorp, which you are probably familiar with. In his notes, it says check labs. So I presume that he was probably checking labs at an outside clinic or so forth, or an outside laboratory, and that's why the labs are not in the chart.
Okay. And in looking at the lab results that you did review, what do they tell you as far as those lab results in 2018 regarding his testosterone level, or what can you infer?
Right. Well, as I mentioned previously, his testosterone level is right in the middle of the normal range. So hence, if he was on testosterone therapy, then it's really a suboptimal range for testosterone therapy. So it's low.
Now, the fact that you testified that you've prescribed a Remedex against what Mr. Boggs called the recommended use of it, can you explain about that?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, there are medications that most physicians use who are called off-label. And believe it or not, that's how most medications get other indications. So let me give you a good example. A very popular weight loss drug right now is called Ozempic. It's an injection, and you lose massive amounts of weight, and there's a big shortage throughout the country. You can't find it right now. Well, Ozempic was indicated for diabetes, and diabetes only, and that's what the manufacturer states. But people started losing massive amounts of weight on it, so therefore physicians started prescribing it for weight loss. Hence, that's what we call an off-label use. The company recognized that, does the research, and now it's an indication to use Ozempic for weight loss. And that's how most drugs get discovered. Hence, Arimidex. We know that testosterone is broken down into estrogen. We don't want that. What's a medication that blocks it? Arimidex. That's why we call them estrogen blockers.
And you also said to prevent the formation region of the breasts, or what? Talk to me about
Yeah,
that.
well, like I mentioned earlier, if your testosterone is not balanced, even in women, but especially in men, if the estrogen gets too high, well, they're not going to feel like their normal self. Very emotional. You cry during commercials. You develop the man boobs, as they call, things like that.
Now, can you explain what manic means, and where would you say that type of behavior can occur?
Well, manic is typically when you're hyperactive, you're irritable, you're jittery, like hyperactivity.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, Mr. Boggs was asking you about the assessment or testing for the STD. How was it noted in the records?
Oh, I got to look through it again.
I'm sorry about that, Doc.
Mhm.
This doctor is so snorky. He's just like, okay. Yeah.
What I recall is that he came to the office and asking that he had been exposed to an STD and that he wanted to be tested for it. And on that same note, he was given a prescription for gonorrhea and chlamydia.
And again, getting back to the combination of phentermine and testosterone, do they cause psychosis when taken together?
No, there's no drug-drug interaction known to anybody that it causes psychosis when used together.
Thank you, Doctor.
Is that it, Sonia?
That's it, sir.
Thank you. Anything else?
Doctor, you testified about outside labs. Now, in your practice, do you use outside labs?
Yes.
And when you do use an outside lab, do you take that result and put it in the patient's file?
Yes.
Okay. And it appears, you said, I can't remember the exact word. You said, I presume, or that's what I think probably happened?
Correct.
Okay. Now, but Dr. Perez did not take that outside lab result and put it in the file according to these documents, correct?
Correct.
Now, you indicated Mr. Alaniz asked you about the STDs at the end of his redirect. And you said that there was a note that he said he wanted to be tested, and in that same note, he wrote in the prescription. So it appears that the test never occurred. Is that correct?
I cannot say that.
But it all happened at the same time, the request to be tested and then the prescription.
Because we usually treat the patient before you get that lab work to be proactive and act before the result comes in.
And now, you were asked at the end of the redirect examination about whether this combination could cause psychosis, but again, we know that testosterone is mood altering. Yes, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And we know that that phentermine works on the central nervous system and suppresses the appetite through a reaction on the brain. Is that true, sir?
Correct.
Now, you discussed what I think you called it off-label. So it's using a drug that's meant for something else. Is that right?
Correct.
And that's how we learn how things can work.
Correct.
Now, I believe you told me on cross-examination a moment ago that every individual is different and their biology is unique. Is that correct?
Correct.
So, even though you personally haven't had experience about this, you don't know about whether or not any individual could have a mind-altering or a mood-altering effect on a combination of drugs.
Our ears.
A combination of drugs or these two specific drugs?
Those two specific.
There is no literature to support that the combination of these two drugs causes an interaction or what we call a synergistic effect to cause psychosis.
Now, but they individually alter the mind and the mood. That's what you told us.
Correct.
is there a reason to believe that if they individually alter the mind or alter the mood, that somehow they would counteract each other?
Possibly. I mean, that's what you have. You study pharmacokinetics and drug-drug interactions, and some work better together with others. Others work worse with others. But with those two combinations, it doesn't exist that they potentiate that side effect.
And again, you are a very excellent OBGYN, correct, sir?
Correct?
You are not a psychiatrist?
No.
You are not a psychologist?
No.
You are not a psychopharmacologist?
No.
I passed that.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Can you,
Thank you.
can I follow up on one
Okay.
more? On page 91, can you go to the records, page 91? '87, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm here.
You see where it talks about the chief complaint,
Yes, sir.
and then on page 90, the assessment?
Page 90 or 90?
90, 91.
Okay, I do see it.
And on page 92, it says follow up under chief complaint of STD panel.
Correct.
Okay. And what does that mean, STD panel?
Well, it's usually either a Q-tip test of the urethra or a urine test.
So, would you agree then that that Dr. Perez's record keeping was not up to par? And just looking at the fact that there's some labs missing or incomplete records?
Possibly.
Okay. And in the thousands of patients that you've treated with both phentermine, testosterone, or Remedex, or a combination of those, none of them have ever suffered from psychosis?
No.
Thank
No
you.
further questions.
Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. You are excused here. We go about your business. Thank you so much. You can leave that right.
Look at him, so embarrassed. So embarrassed.
Mr. Allen, any other rebuttal witness?
No, Your Honor.
You close.
State closes, Your Honor.
You close.
Yes, sir.
Oh my word.
Members of the jury, you have received all the evidence that you will be receiving in this case. However, it is Friday at 4:30, and I am not going to give you the case today. I'm going to ask you to come back on Monday at the same time. In fact, let's make it at 9:30 Monday, just to make sure that we get all our ducks in a row before we get started. At that time, I will read you the charge, and the arguments of counsel will be given to you. Then after that, you will be given the case as you go into the deliberation room. I need everybody back on that day. Okay? You are excused for today, but I have not given you the case, so therefore remember the instructions that I've given you throughout this entire time. Thank you.
Please rise for the jury.
So exciting, oh my word. Okay. I told you, we can dream, you guys. They closed. They're done. So there's... Yeah. So there's no closing statements, right? Because they said when they come back, they're getting the instructions. Oh, wait. They'll probably get the instructions, then do the closing statements, then go and deliberate, right? Oh, my word. Yes. Go and deliberate for the whole day on Monday if you want, but then come back. We'll be so excited for when they're back. Tell us. What's the verdict? That was like... You see, it's worth it, you guys. This trial has been lengthy. But these moments will be so worth it when we see... Well, already today was so worth it. All the waiting around, everything we just did. To see Burgos that humiliated, hell yeah. And twice they mentioned the STDs. District Attorney Isidro Alanis. It's my hero. Yes. Thank you, sir. That was such a good rebuttal witness. So snarky as well. So are they just done now? Is that it? It just like, yeah, that's it. It just ends. Wow. Oh, and impact statements, of course. But sometimes, yeah, okay, no closing. Some people, you see, when I asked last time, people are like, no, they will be closing it. Here they said they rested, they're closing. Jury instructions on Monday. The jury will go and deliberate. Come back with a verdict. Victim impact statement, sentencing. Oh, I can't wait for that. I can't wait for victim impact statements and sentencing. How about you guys? Sorry, now I'm here. I'm there in the corner again. Yes. Dirty, dirty. Burgos. Oh man, he just looked so embarrassed. I can't wait to clip some of that. See some of that again and be like, ah. He thought he was going to be so embarrassed. He was so embarrassed when he was arrested. When he was detained. Not even arrested yet. He was detained. And he's like, can I take my shirt off? This is so embarrassing. And then he's shunting his mother around on the phone on July 5th, 2023. Like, listen, why are you there? You know they record everything. Huh? What are you doing there? And she's like, I'm quite happy over here, actually. And he's like, what? You know that they're watching me. Oh, no, we all saw that. International coverage. That means the whole world knows. And that is so worth it. That's right, Burgos. Yes, indeed. We absolutely grill and roast killers on this channel. Yeah, we do not put them on pedestals. We do not like them, fall in love with them, or find them hot, ever. Celtic says, justice will be served. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, okay, so. You're like, let's take a poll, see where everyone is right now. Let's do that on Monday, when we will also be deliberating. So, I wonder though, on Monday, what on earth will we do there? You know what I mean? They're going to start deliberating. They said they're going to be in at 9:30. Not, well, I mean, okay. The judge said 9:30. Let's be in at 9:30 instead of what, 9:15? So that means they're only going to start. Okay, we can adjust because we know how the Laredo time works now. 9:30 probably means 10:15 that we'll see anything on the screen or what. Maybe 10 o'clock. Maybe 10 o'clock. So, but we'll be there for it. I'll be monitoring as always on Monday. I do need to make a summary still as well for you guys. Wish me luck. Like, normally you might be like, damn, that was quite a week, you know? What a trial. I'm still going to make summaries for you. Maybe on Sunday. Maybe. We'll see. But maybe I'll prepare all the summaries so we can go over it on Monday while they deliberate. That could be quite cool. That could be pretty cool, I think. Anyway. So, let's see what the time is. Good time. Good time. So now what we're going to do, please hang in here. Stay here if you are interested in the Long Island serial killer news. Because this stream is going to lead you to that stream. I just quickly need to set it up that it does so. And yeah, 20-minute deliberation says Nerva. I wonder how long. I think they're going to deliberate. They might deliberate all day. They might even do it all day and on Tuesday, in my opinion, because it's a death penalty case. However, you never know. You never know. I mean, we thought that the unanimous, you know, the guilty verdict would take shorter, much shorter, right? So someone says jury instructions, then closing statements, then they deliberate. When they come back, then victim impact statements, right before sentencing. Okay. So now, stand by. 9,000 people here. I'll be watching who's there and who's not. Are you coming or not? Okay. We've got a press conference to go over. We've got slides to go over. We've got all sorts of things. It's a case that we looked at a while ago already, I think last year sometime. If you watch my playlist, you'll see. It's like a blast from the past. I'm like, who is she? When I watch myself from a year ago, I'm like, who is that? She's so shy. Yeah, so, okay. Let me, firstly, hold on. I'm just quickly going to give you the link, okay? Next stream here. Okay, just in case. Yes. Lieutenant Peter Ponzo says, long week for UG. Okay, did it post it there? Damn, this chat is flying. It always does. It flies. Can't even see it. Everyone's very excited. Kinsey, thank you so much for your $20 super sticker. I really appreciate it. Give me one more second, guys. One more second, because I'm going to quickly set the time so that you don't get confused when you get there. I'm like, wait, what? We're going to start, like, as soon as I get there, okay? I'm going to say 12 a.m. Midnight stream. Are you ready? Because this stream, wait for the outro to finish playing, okay? The outro will play. Wait there. It will automatically take you there. You'll be like in the Grizzly teleport, okay? Are you ready? Amber Gloria Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay, everyone. Here we go. I'm going to teleport you after the outro. Get ready. Wait for it. See the magic happen. Hope it happens. Here we go. Okay.
Hi Grizzlies! You will now be redirected to the next screen.